Because we're in the T20 season, it's called T20 for David and Yuvi. The one shot that Yuvi has, you wish you had to.
I'll tell you one shot. The one that he stands still and hits it back over the bowler with power and timing is ridiculous. He's superb and sublime when he's doing that.
Okay, you'd want that, okay. Now, I'm going to give you 3 options. The fastest delivery in cricket, the fastest serve in tennis, or a smash in badminton. Which do you think is the fastest?
I've seen one live tennis game in my life. It was Rafa versus Roger recently. And I've definitely not taken a tennis serve. I'll take badminton.
Well, that's right. I mean, you know, I had that question because Gopi was going to be a badminton smash is 403 km per hour. I mean, that's how it's been recorded at. Okay, great. Now, who's the bowler? David Warner with his leg spin or Yuvraj Singh with his left arm spin?
Lucky we're not bowling 20 overs because we'd be chasing a lot.
Okay, that's a good answer. The young batsman that's impressed you the most this IPL, and I've got, I mean, surprise, 3 left-handed batsmen in Rishabh Pant, Nitish Rana or Ishan Kishan.
I think that all 3 are different. I think Pant, because I think he's just stroke play from ball 1 has been exceptional on a couple of occasions, and I think he's definitely a powerhouse to keep an eye out for.
Okay. The one player that you have maximum difficulty communicating with as captain of Sunrisers because you don't speak the same language.
Mustafizur Rahman.
Okay, he's gone now. So you're a relieved man. Okay, this is a true or a false question. When Yuvraj Singh was a kid, he acted in a full length feature film. True. He knows that. Have you seen that? No. But you knew that. Okay. Finally, who's your pick for the forthcoming Champions Trophy?
4th pick?
For the Champions Trophy, your pick.
I'll have to take us out of the context. I think, look, if I'm being honest, I think South Africa have been a very good one-day team over the last 12 months, and they've beaten some good opposition, at their strengths as well. So I think they're playing, as a unit, they're playing very well.
Okay, that was great. That was lovely. And let's see if you can match up to David. Yuvi, your turn. Same question that I asked David. The one shot that you wish, which he can play, you wish you had.
He's got a few would I like to play. Switch it. And one, I remember when he first came in the IPL, I watched him, an off-spinner bowling to him, and he steps out, becomes the right-hander, and hits him overhead for a 6. So a couple of them definitely I would love to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since we are in the badminton capital of the country, who's your all-time favorite badminton player?
Gopichand.
Okay. Who's the laziest Sunriser?
Bipul Sharma? The chairman. Sorry, who's that? I would say Bipul Sharma.
Bipul Sharma. Okay. Same question I asked him. Who's that young left-handed batsman who's impressed you the most this IPL? Now there's Rishabh, there's Nitish Rana and Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, I mean, they all are doing well, but I just feel that Rishabh has a very dynamic game. He's very young. He's, getting better with every season. I think he will definitely be the player in the future. Ishan Kishan looks very promising as well. So does Rana. But I think Pant has just got just extra bit of talent.
Okay. How many first-class matches did David Warner play before making his Australia debut? I can give you 3 options. 123 or 55.
123 or 50?
123 or 55.
1.
No, actually there was
Zero.
a googly.
0, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
He didn't play a first-class
So
match. I think
why
in the
didn't
first
you give me
Australia.
option 0?
Because that's a googly. I'm allowed to bowl a googly.
Play. Yeah, exactly.
No, you got it wrong the first time. You said 1.
No. You gave me 3 options. I knew it was none.
Well, you could say all your options are wrong. It's 0.
Okay, it is wrong. It's 0.
Okay. Final question, the same thing that I asked him. Your pick to win the Champions Trophy?
As Davy said, I would agree South Africa has been a very good side, but I would definitely go for India.
Am I talking to the champions of 2017 IPL, 2 members of that team?
We hope so. We definitely hope so. We're on the right track. Obviously, we've got 2 home games now coming up, and this is our fortress. So I like to see our guys win the next 2, and obviously try and win a game away from home, which has been quite difficult for us of late.
You mentioned right at that first game where UV played a blinder, saying that if this man can keep playing the way he is, there's no reason why you shouldn't be winning that second title.
Yeah, look, obviously credit to Yuvi. He's come out and played some crucial knocks for us, and I think that it inhabits sometimes when you get off to a flyer at the top, or when it filters down the bottom, to have finishes like Yuvi himself, where he comes in and plays the way he does, is fantastic. But when you give a bloke like him time and some balls, look what he's capable of. When he faces that amount of balls, it's crazy what he can do. So sometimes I wish that he doesn't have to face that many, because that means me and Shikha are doing our job at the top of the order.
UV, same question to you. Am I talking to the 2017 champions? And no points for guessing which team I'm supporting. You don't miss my orange pocket scarf, my orange socks.
Yeah, I think we have David Warner, so no problem. I think it's just, yeah, thank you, we'll clap. I think we have a really good balance in our team, and hopefully we should make it to the last 4 and hopefully to the last 2. But as he said about batting in the middle order, I think he's given us some great starts. 100 of 43 balls at the Hyderabad Stadium, big ground. It was really quality bowling. People always talk about Chris's 130 balls in Bangalore, but I felt that knock was really special because it was a lot of really good international bowlers. And I think, as I said about the balance, but I generally think David is one of the most fascinating players in the world, not because he bats left-handed, because he also bats right-handed. And he's someone who could have played international cricket as a right-hand batsman. So I think guy's got phenomenal talent, and I'm glad he's not doesn't contribute with bowling, only with captaincy.
Do you, David, because he mentioned that, do you think one day bowlers are going to revolt saying, this is not done? We only get to bowl with either the right or the left hand, and this guy just changes his stance, smashes up all across the park?
I've always said if you can gain momentum in your bowling action to change your action, then you're good enough to do it, then you can do it. But I think it's quite tough to actually do that when you're running in, your momentum's all one way, and try and change it. It'll be quite difficult.
Since he brings that up, it's a very interesting story of David Warner's life. Correct me if I'm wrong, that at what age 13 you were told, change it around, lefty is not working, start batting right-handed?
Yeah. Obviously, as batting left-hand, I always used to hit the ball in the air a lot, and I used to get out caught all the time on the boundary. So my coach said to me, we're going to turn around and you're going to bat right-handed. So every time I batted right-handed, I couldn't hit the ball in the air, and I had no power. But I was scoring lots of runs and I wasn't getting out. So for a year I did that, and then I just came to my senses and said, I want more power. I want to be able to try and hit the ball on the ground. So I tried it back to left-handed. I felt much more comfortable and a bit more at ease. I still got out caught, but I just stayed the same way and just backed myself, and then played these little reverse sweeps when I was a young kid as well. But I was too afraid to do it, and then I sort of pulled it out when I was about 20, mid-20s, and then from there I haven't really looked back since. But okay. I might bat right-handed one time, maybe.
Okay, we'd look forward to that. You tell us, not from your childhood, but when you made your debut, it seems like a long time ago, to now, how has coaching and how you train evolved in cricket?
Well, I think to the time I played, the game's really evolved, and T20 has come in, it's taken the pace of cricket to another level. When we started, 250, 260 was a winning score, and now 360, 400 is not a winning score in one-day cricket. So I think since T20 came in, guys started to believe they can change any total. And the way the game's going, I'm not surprised if they start like 10 overs. So, but I think if this new format of 25 overs comes in, like, bat 25 overs and the opposition bats 25 overs, then you get 25 overs. I think it'll make cricket very exciting. I'm not sure it's going to happen, but I think the game is just evolving with, I feel the batsman skills are getting better, and bowlers who are playing in all continents are getting better. So let's see where we land up in the next 10 years.
Okay, if players like yourself say it, it might just happen. David, your thoughts on that? Because he talks about is those test match sort of a thing, but limited overs, 25, 2 innings.
Yeah, look, I think you look at one-day cricket, and as you said, 260, 270 was a good score. You've got 2 new white balls now, so it's 25 overs old. And you don't have guys like Wasim and Waka who used to reverse tang the ball all the time, and they couldn't hit it. But, as Yuvi said, you're probably going to see a 10-10 game, and it'll just be bowlers versus batters probably. But I think the game is changing. The batsmen are being more innovative. The bowlers are being more creative. Apparently the bats are getting bigger. That's why they're shrinking them. That's not going to make a difference. Players are getting stronger. A lot more players are spending a lot more time in the gym. And I think bowlers are going to get faster as well. What I will say is, coming from a player who's playing Test cricket currently, I would still like to see young kids coming through have that ambition to play Test cricket, because that's the pinnacle of playing cricket. That is tough cricket. 5 days, mentally, challenging conditions. You come to India, you come to Australia, the heat is extreme, and that plays a massive factor and role. So if there's any kids listening out there, Test cricket is the pinnacle and really shows you if you're a cricketer or not.
One second. Definitely, I would like to emphasize on that. I think as when I was growing up as a young kid, I always wanted to play the 5-day format, because you call it Test cricket, that's the actual test of a cricketer, and it's the hardest format. And I know T20 is entertaining, 50 overs is good, but the real cricket is Test cricket. So definitely urge the youngsters to focus on 5-day cricket and to becoming good Test players.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant. We're in the middle of the IPL, but we've got 2 players who are very successful in the IPL. You're talking about Test cricket. I read a story that, we were talking about your own background. You said you're lucky enough to have a roof, but I believe you had one cricket batter, SS bat, and you preserved it because he couldn't afford another bat. Could you just tell that story? Because that may inspire a lot of other kids who may say, I don't have the facility to become a superstar.
Yeah, when I look at it today and I've got 8 cricket bats and I'm still trying to steal people's bats like Yuvi's and everyone else's, you cherish those items that you get when you're a young kid. And, being fortunate enough in the position that I am today to give away cricket bats, I used to sleep with my cricket bat. I used to, whenever I used it, I used to pack it away and make sure that my parents locked it in the car, or just so no one took that off myself. But, I was fortunate enough that my uncle bought me that cricket bat, and I managed to go out and play, cricket for my school, my club association, and go on to win a couple of awards, which granted me a cricket bat, which was one of our awards. And I was grateful for that, and I really cherish that. I really, when you don't get given things as a child and you have to really work hard for it, it made me really think to myself, what can I actually get to? What can I achieve? And by winning that cricket bat gave me a sense of direction in my life, that if I work hard and really put my mind and focus to things, I can achieve anything. And that's what I had to do as a young kid. I had to work around for my family. I had to help my parents iron the clothes, wash the clothes, do every little day things to earn some treats from my parents, whether it was $1 or 50 or 100 rupees, something like that, to buy a pair of shoes or something. That's the gratitude that I have today, and I'm very humble for that and my parents' upbringing.
David talks about having just the one cricket bat. You didn't have a problem of cricket bats. In fact, you didn't want a cricket bat. You were given multiple cricket bats by your dad because you were interested in other sports at the time. But, I want to talk to you about, and I've read your book, which you talk about, and this is something that, kids sometimes feel that their coaches, or when they're learning a particular sport, can be a bit harsh on them. You had a few incidents. Your dad was your first coach. For example, being thrown a cold bucket of water in peak winters in Chandigarh. But looking back at those things, you're grateful that someone pushed you because cricket was not your first love.
Yeah, well, as Davy said, he hardly had any bats, and I had a lot of bats, but I didn't want to play with them because I never wanted to be a cricketer. Always wanted to play other sports. But sometimes, always believe you should allow the child to do what he wants to do. But sometimes if you feel, the child has a talent, you should push him. But I think I was pushed for other reasons. It was those early days where, as I said, I never wanted to play the game. But it just happened that, I played the game at a very early stage, and I was always pushed to be on the ground and not allowed to do what other kids were doing, roaming around with friends or going out with your cousins or, having a good time. So I was never allowed to do that in my younger age. But I think that also allowed me to play for India at a very young age, and all that hard work that my father made me do. I think he had a vision that, that this is what I'm going to come out of 5 years, so I had to train him now. So for cricket, I will always be forever thankful to my father.
Do you think the cricketer of today is an athlete too? He wasn't a few years back.
As I've always said in any interview, the hardest part is training and preparation. The game's the easiest part. That's what we're designed to do. Preparing, those days where we're sweating it out behind cameras, no one can see, they're the hardest days. But when you go on the field, you guys are seeing the finished product.
Tom, I always wanted to ask you, how many of those skipping sessions or those lunges in the gyms did David Boone ever do?
David Boone tends to sort of keep his training around the bar. He spent 15 years looking for some weights in the bar and only could find a can of Foster's. And he was pretty much suited to that. But in saying that, I'm having a joke about Booney, and yeah, look, he played in that era, but Booney was also very fit. In comparison to what fitness was back in that day, certainly he's not as fit as these two guys, but he was quite fit. He had good endurance, and he had quite a good record in the subcontinent, where the conditions are really challenging. David Boone was one player from Australia that stepped up in this environment. So, yes, he enjoyed a beer and had a good time, but there was a certain, hardness about David Boone that's got to be respected.
Same question to you that I asked Tom. How many gym sessions did Arjuna Ranatunga do?
He won't do any gym sessions. It's very hard for him because we also accepted that, because not only Arjuna, but a few other players.
Yeah, they were Aravinda, Guru Singh at that time.
Yeah, so that era, because it's very hard to them to push them, and also actually we think they can get the runs in the board. So that's more important than the fitness at the time, because our thinking is so different rather than fielding and everything. So if you are a fielder, because it goes to Ranatunga, if it goes a run, we don't mind because he will contribute by batting. That's what we thought at the time. So it all changed a lot, and mostly gym sessions never heard about at the time, because we haven't seen a gym. That's the way it was in Sri Lanka, because, and if it's fitness, you say you run 4 rounds and that's it.
I was talking about, gym fitness versus playing cricket fitness. When I saw an interview where Wasim Akram, he said, I just can't understand why fast bowlers would go and do these gym sessions. My strength muscle came from bowling in the nets. I would bowl day in and day out and develop my shoulder muscle. That's how I could bowl fast consistently. Now you have to do that. How do you strike a balance? Because having played cricket in that time where it wasn't so, but now you've changed with the times. Which do you think is the right way to go about it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I personally believe that you need a balance. I think over the past 5 years, in most professional environments, the balance has gone too far towards sports science, where there's been more emphasis on players achieving goals in the gym and on the track than on the field of play. I believe that the training needs to be very specific to what you do. David Warner runs between the wickets like a hare, and he sprints. He needs to sprint. He doesn't need to do what a fast bowler needs to do. So their training programs must be very different. Yes, there's no doubt that weights is going to complement what they do, but the main work they need to be doing is on the track. So the running that David uses, for instance, that running training is vital to his game, because it gives him extra runs between the wickets. It makes him a brilliant fielder to stop runs in the field, and it's geared towards, what he delivers to the team. So I think, it's slowly coming back to that balance where gym is important, but let's get more emphasis on what is specific to your performance on the field of play.
Really, same question to you. I mean, like you said, didn't do gym sessions, but you had to bowl in a test match, someday you would bowl about 30 overs in a day. How did you keep yourself fit? And how do you think now, as a coach, do you advise a bowler what he needs to do?
Especially if a spin bowler, because I used to bowl about whole net session, 3.5 hours, keep on bowling because that's the way I developed. And even younger days, we used to bowl a lot and lot. So nowadays people reduce their bowling and do more gym session and stuff. But still I think nowadays people get more injured than older days because they didn't get injured. If you say Kapil Dev would have only one injury, would have been whole career, playing about nearly 100 odd test matches. So that keeps so that's what I think sometimes Wasim Akram would have said, I didn't do gym because I was keep on bowling, because we are used to that. So nowadays, younger days, even 18, 19 years, they start doing gym and then bowling, they get to used to that. So if you don't do the gym sessions, then they get injured. So the patterns are changed, and sports science has come, and the newer generation gone through that. So older days, you keep on bowling. That's all you get, and then hardly you get injuries. These days, you have many injuries. If you say many teams, you say so many bowlers get injured every time.
Thanks so much for taking time out, speaking to us. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the current IPL champions. They're still the defending champions till the 21st of May.